Now let us make a robot using UiPath StudioX Community Edition. Let us understand the project first. And you can understand the project first by pointing out and jotting out the points in the form of some kind of algorithm. Algorithm is nothing but a sequenced based line of actions or steps to make any kind of program. There is a program flow, or you can say the different tasks to be done to make a robot. So in case of my robot, we want to make a robot by using UiPath StudioX. The robot will get data from a Excel file. Let me show you the figure of the file. This is the file. The file has different columns. The column names are transaction type, cash in, on as check, not on as check, and then transaction, first name, last name, and a field for comment. Now this comment would be used also, and we will do some kind of activity which will fill out the transaction column and the comment column. Now let me show you the file in itself. So this is the Excel file. You can see this is the Excel file. Now this is a range of data, and we normally call this range of data in some kind of name so that we can reference this set of data through a range by naming it. For example, I have named this range as decisions. So you can see now the range is this one, and the name is decision. This decision is placed in a sheet 20200821. This is nothing but a ENSI format of a date. That is 2020, 08 means August, the month of August, and 21 is the date. So anyhow, this is the file from which, and the name of the file is Data.xlsx. And from this file, we will get these data depending upon the transaction type, and this is the transaction type. So we will loop it through the each line. That means we will first consider this line, and then consider this line, and then consider this line for a set of activity. So the robot will consider first this line, and then second this line, and then this line. In this way, it will traverse through the whole set of data. By making a decision if the column transaction is empty. So it will take a decision that if this column is empty, then it will do some kind of job, some kind of task. If it isn't empty, that it will simply write in this comment box that the data has been already booked or the transaction already booked. So if the transaction is empty, then consider the whole line of the data entry in an application. Now what is the application? Let me show you the application. This is the application. Here, depending upon the transaction type, the requirement of the application changes. So if it is deposit, then it will ask for cash in on as check, not on as check. And after saving, it will be saved by accepting, clicking on the accept button. So accept button means the transaction has been booked, and there is a transaction ID, and this is the number of the transaction ID. This will automatically change for each transactions. If the case is withdrawal, then it will ask for different kind of data. And if it is a split deposit, then it will again ask a different kind of data. So if the transaction is empty, then consider the whole line for data entry in the application. Else the transaction is not empty, then it will type transaction already booked in the column comment. Now, taking the case of the transaction type, that is like withdrawal, a deposit, or split deposit, radio button will be selected from the transaction, that is the application from the application. Now, depending upon the case, now if this is a deposit, then put the cash in field on the on check us field and not on us check field, respectively, from the application taking data into the column. So what it will do, let me show you. Depending upon the case, the transaction type, it will click on the radio button as I showed on the application. So if it is deposit, then it will click on this field, because if this is a deposit, for example, it is deposit, then it will automatically click on this and then put data into this. And then if it is withdrawal, for example, this is withdrawal, then it will automatically click on the radio button, withdrawal. In this way, it will do the job. So if it is a withdrawal, then you can see that there is only two different kind of fields, that is check 1 and check 2. So you can see. And if it is a split deposit, it will be 3 fields like it was in deposit. Okay, so you can see from where this data would be put into. So as the column of the Excel file itself denotes that if it is a deposit transaction, then it will take data from this column, cash in, and will put into cash in field of the application. And if it is on us check, then it will be taking data from this on us check column and then put into the field of the application. So respectively, it will enter data. So, but if it is withdrawal, then it will be taking for check 1 from cash in and for check 2 from on us check. So this is to clearly you can understand how this data would be put into. And if it is split deposit, then it will do accordingly, as you can see in the diagram. So now it will get the transaction ID from the application. Now as I shown it to you, it will take the transaction ID from this application and it will put it into the column, that is transaction ID or transaction, in this column, and then click on the button save in the application. As you know, it has to be saved, that is it will accept. Click on the button accept, and then iterate into the next column. So row, sorry, first of all this row and then to the next row and so on. So now the algorithm is very clear. So how to do the programming of the robot? Now let us understand what are the requisites for the project. The requisites are: you need a computer, a Windows operating system. It is better if you have got Windows 10. A .NET framework must be installed or activated. UiPath Studio. From the UiPath Studio, you have to download the UiPath StudioX. How to download? I will tell you. You must have Microsoft Excel, and the files which are required is Data.xlsx, as I shown it to you, and I will share it in the video itself. And a DoubleUI application is a user interface application developed in .NET framework. You need that for make this project.